The prevailing belief asserts that the Egyptians lacked a philosophical tradition, with the origin of philosophy attributed solely to the ancient Greeks. Nonetheless, notable Greek philosophers such as Thales, Pythagoras, and Plato openly acknowledged their profound indebtedness to the Egyptian sages for their knowledge and ideas. To illustrate, Plato dedicated an extensive 13-year period to studying under the tutelage of Egyptian priests in Heliopolis. Ancient Greek philosophers held Egypt in high regard as a center of wisdom and philosophy. Isocrates, born in 436 BC, wrote in his work Busiris that it was widely acknowledged that the Egyptians possessed exceptional health and longevity among all humans. He further noted that the Egyptians introduced the training of philosophy for the soul, a pursuit that not only established laws, but also delved into the nature of the universe. Isocrates mentioned that Greek writers traveled to Egypt in search of knowledge, and among them, Pythagoras of Samos was credited with bringing philosophy to the Greeks. Plato, in his dialogue Phaedrus, attributed the invention of numbers, arithmetic, and most significantly, letters to the Egyptian deity Thoth. In Plato's Timaeus, Socrates quotes the ancient Egyptian sages when recounting the tale of Solon's journey to Egypt to gain wisdom. The Egyptians' response to Solon's knowledge was, "O Solon, Solon, you Greeks are always children." Aristotle also acknowledged Egypt as the original source of wisdom, stating in his work Politics that the Egyptians were reputed to be the oldest of nations and had always possessed laws and a political system. These references from prominent Greek philosophers highlight the esteem in which Egypt was held as a repository of knowledge, philosophy, and ancient wisdom. However, studying ancient Egyptian philosophy presents several challenges. One major obstacle is the scarcity of surviving written texts over thousands of years. Unlike ancient Greek or Roman philosophy, which has left behind extensive written works, the surviving texts from ancient Egypt tend to focus primarily on religious and funerary practices, rather than philosophical discourse. This scarcity of easily accessible philosophical writings hinders our understanding of ancient Egyptian philosophical thought. Another challenge arises from the integration of intellectual pursuits with religious beliefs and practices in ancient Egypt. Many philosophical ideas were expressed within the context of mythology, cosmology, and religious rituals. This intertwining of philosophy with religion makes it more difficult to isolate and identify distinct philosophical ideas and thinkers. Compounding the difficulty is the linguistic barrier presented by ancient Egyptian scripts, such as hieroglyphs. Deciphering and translating these texts require specialized expertise and ongoing research. While progress has been made in deciphering hieroglyphs, there is still much work to be done. The complexity of the language and the limited number of experts in the field further contribute to the challenge of uncovering and understanding ancient Egyptian philosophical writings. Additionally, the historical focus on Western philosophical traditions, particularly those of ancient Greece and Rome, has shaped the narrative of philosophy in popular culture and academia. This Eurocentric perspective has often overlooked or marginalized the contributions of non-Western civilizations, including ancient Egypt. The study of ancient Egyptian philosophy has received less attention and recognition compared to its Greek and Roman counterparts. Despite these challenges, contemporary scholars are exploring alternative perspectives. Pierre Hadot, the author of Philosophy as a Way of Life, suggests that the ancient world held a distinct understanding of philosophy, different from the modern conception. According to Hadot, philosophy was characterized by two fundamental principles: the art of living and the art of dying. This practical and metaphysical dimension can also be discerned in Egyptian philosophy. The Egyptians' wisdom literature or moral philosophy aimed to guide individuals on how to lead a virtuous life, while their funerary texts revolved around the concept of preparing oneself for the afterlife. Ptahhotep, an Egyptian philosopher, stands as a noteworthy exemplar within the realm of moral philosophy. He authored his renowned work, The Wisdom, at the remarkable age of 110, potentially making him the world's first philosopher and possibly the oldest, as suggested by Will Durant. The moral philosophy of the ancient Egyptians found its foundation in the principle of Maat. Maat, personified as a goddess and symbolized by a feather, embodied the universal order of the cosmos, the law of life. Humans, too, were subject to this law, necessitating their harmonious alignment with the dictates of their higher intelligence, referred to as nous by the Greeks and Ba by the Egyptians. The principle of Maat instilled a profound sense of ethical responsibility and public service, infused with benevolence. Additionally, a significant emphasis was placed on self-cultivation, accompanied by admirable humility. Turning to the second facet of ancient philosophy, learning how to die, Plato references this theme multiple times within his dialogues, portraying philosophy as a preparation for death. While contemporary attitudes toward death are predominantly negative, it can also be perceived in a positive light, as an opportunity to establish a connection with the invisible realm, wherein truth, beauty, and other archetypes can be discerned with greater clarity. Socrates staunchly held this perspective. Theology and cosmology held significant importance in ancient Egyptian thought. Notably, there are indications of an early form of monotheistic theology that emerged with the rise of the Amarna theology, also known as Atonism, during the reign of Akhenaten in the 14th century BCE. According to this belief system, the solar deity Aten was recognized as the sole god. Egyptologist Jan Assmann has referred to this development as a monotheistic revolution, although it incorporated elements from preceding Egyptian philosophical ideas, particularly the new solar theology centered around Amun-Ra. In conclusion, while the study of ancient Egyptian philosophy presents challenges due to the scarcity of surviving texts, the integration of philosophy with religious beliefs, and linguistic barriers, there is compelling evidence to suggest that the Egyptians had a rich tradition of wisdom and philosophical thought. The reverence shown by prominent Greek philosophers towards Egyptian sages and the philosophical ideas embedded within ancient Egyptian texts indicate that Egypt was regarded as a center of knowledge and philosophy in the ancient world.